Good morning, everyone. I'm Paola Gerardin, Product Manager for BPM, the Centro software solution that manages and consolidates your business processes. What we're talking about today? We're going to talk about management of processes, some tips, and then goals of the introduction of such a solution in our company, the benefits, a quick overview of our solution, and then an application example of a process designer. So you will see an application of a real process in quality. So first of all, something about Centro Software. Centro Software is a 30-year-old Italian company that develops second generation ERP software for every kind of company. What I'd like to say, it's always that Centro Software invests more than 20% of its turnover in research and development, with over 80 people working on it. Centro Software continually helps companies to innovate organizational processes with the most advanced through instruments. So we talk about second generation ERP software that are completely integrated with all the areas, so production, sales chain, supply chain, support, supplier portals, B2B, B2C, and local branches and technician, and so on, and technological infrastructure that interfaces with manufacturing system for Industry 4.0, web portals, and real-time dialogue with mobile devices, cloud, SaaS, and so on.
BPM, Business Process Modeler. What is the use of this solution? By introducing that, it will not only be possible to certify your business processes, but it will be also possible to boost the company intangible value, for example, intellectual capital. Along with the digital transformation of production processes, it is also necessary to digitalize the company information processes and all the other areas of the company in order, first of all, to reduce wasteful activity and, last but not least, to increase value added activities. So, which are the goals of introducing a BPM solution? To share the knowledge, we have said the added value of your companies. So, to enhance and protect companies' know-how, cut processing time, that means money, to reduce operational errors, also means money, to manage the configurability of the procedures, to avoid delays, that also means money, support the IT system for ever developing solution, to provide an organizational tool to support your project management activities, to manage the collaboration between internal and external elements of your companies, to manage the document flow and storage. Documents are very important in our processes, we will see later, and to manage and reduce the project costs of your company, and then to reduce the development and maintenance costs of a company procedures. Procedures they change in order to be more efficient. Comply with the voluntary and mandatory standards. We will see later what that means at which are the benefits in order to obtain that. So, a keyword for a BPM solution integration. Every process in our companies is related with our ERP solution, with our other solution, other IT solution, and all the information our organization has to manage. So, a BPM must be integrated in a simple and intuitive way. So, our BPM communicates with IT procedures, with our emails, our other kind of files and documents, so Excel, Word, PDF, the RP, and other kind of files, and then EP tables, and every kind of solution. So, regardless of the management and quality system certification, every company should manage its own projects and services through a process mapping system that will allow to follow the course of business on a detailed and continuous basis. Our BPM allows users to obtain ISO certificate according to the current norms by making it possible to model of the objects of business, map them, and design KPIs without having to make any further investment. So, this is the BPM architecture. So it's a framework of tools with a BPM engine on database SQL, which has a Windows client and also a web client, which is mobile responsive, and you will be able to interact also with your processes on mail, but also with BPM you can interact, and so you can manage input or output from other IT solution that you have to manage in your organization.
By using BPM, it is possible to design process models that can be distributed and used by the users. Now we are going to see a practical example of a process for the management of clients' claims, claim management. To design a new process, you need to open a new blank page by opening the configuration menu, click on Process Preset, and then on New Model. Let's start from the process title by adding a text box. Here you can type in the title and then enter it into the page. Now you can start outlining the actual process by clicking on Start, which is the starting point. The text can be modified or moved by using the functions that will be displayed if you click the right button of the mouse. You can then proceed with the next steps. The activity object represents the tasks that have to be assigned and carried out by the users. You can keep adding activities to the process. The activities can be customized. By using the link tool, you can connect the activities of the process. You just have to drag and drop the objects from one activity to another to prioritize them. It is possible to align them horizontally to clean up the design of the process. Now you can name the process model and enter it in the properties list. Lastly, you have to specify that the starting point is the registration object. Now you can publish the first version of your process. The second important aspect of the process are the variables, which represents the data that are managed by the process itself. BPM allows you to create a form that contains the process data that are relevant to its execution. By clicking on the Add button, you can create a new variable called claim number and mark it as numerical. You can drag and drop it in the design area to place it into the design. You can proceed to create more variables, depending on what information you need to display in your process. You can customize the size and the position of each variable, as well as many other characteristics that involve its performance. Usually, processes are designed according to paper documents or Excel files that have already been generated for the company. It is possible to place and align the variables. The variables can be grouped into subcategories to bring order to the design. You can also organize the variables into categories, which correspond to the pages. These categories can be renamed and created anew. The variables of the module can also be grouped to avoid repeating them and to easily manage the detail lines. Once you've created the group structure, you can add new variables by dragging and dropping them into the table. The variables created for the process have to be assigned to the single process activities. To do so, you can export them on a file. It is also possible to export them page by page. Now you can import the variables into the activities. You can see the variables that are to be compiled when starting the process. Now you can set the necessary rules. For example, you can set some of the variables to be mandatory. The following activities can be assigned some variables, which can be dragged and dropped directly on the form. Please note that you can activate alternative paths that depend on the settings of the process. You can generate a new side activity. You can decide to activate this activity only when the vigilance variable is set on yes. To do so, you need to set a certain parameter for the selected connection. You can now publish the second version of the process. The system will generate a warning message because you have skipped one of the necessary steps. First, you need to specify how names are assigned to the processes. In this case, you can call the process the same name as the variant, namely claim number. To start a process, you need to start from the to-do list. Here, you can open the Operations menu, click on New Process, and then on Claims Workflow, which is the process you have just defined. The system opens a form with the data that are necessary to start the process. You can now fill out the fields, making sure to fill out all the mandatory fields. You can start the process by clicking on Complete. In the to-do list, the first process activity will appear in bold. By clicking on the process name, you will be able to set the progress state of the process. Any activity in yellow is an activity currently in progress. The rest of the process has not been carried out yet. In the Variables tab, you can see the information that is being collected, which will then be saved in this window. By clicking on Do It, you can run the current activity. At this point, BPM asks you to enter the information required by this step. If the mandatory fields are not filled out, you won't be able to proceed. As you can see, the active activity is vigilance, in compliance with the conditions that have been set in the process, since the vigilance setting has been set to yes. By clicking on Do It, you can proceed and verify that the activities in gray have already been carried out. The ones in yellow are in progress, and the ones in green have been scheduled but have not been carried out yet. In the management activity, you can enter the information as a detail table. It is also possible to suspend an activity temporarily by saving the information that has already been entered but without proceeding with the process flow. Once the process is complete, no activities will appear in the to-do list. It is possible to search for completed activities by setting the research filters in the left side of the screen.
First of all, our process designer. This is the heart of our solution because this is the place where you can map and then you can design every process and so on. And here, your user, your people who collaborates with you in your organization can configure users, profiles, permission. That's a very important feature for BPM to have a right and a special managing of user permission, what a user can do, what a user can see, what a user can read. And also here you can manage condition for switching from one task to another. You can manage signature, times, consultation, and so on. Everything of this you can do without coding. So our process designer can be managed by user that has no coding know-how.
After our process designer, the brain of our BPMs is our to-do list. This is the browsing tool for our user, working groups, and manager and process owner. It shows what needs to be done together with the required action, deadline, and so on. And you can see them on a calendar or in a to-do list. Together with our process designer, our form designer, and the to-do list, we have to talk about managing times. So we have a planning tool inside of BPM that manages forecast completion, deadlines, progress monitoring, always in a graphic way. So your final user can have a sight of all our action, all our processes, and all the delivery times. At last, we have to talk about statistics. As we said before, processes and management of processes means also analyze data about our processes. Inside of our BPMs, we have a tool that permits to show the status of our task or keeps history of what has been done. But this tool enables you to make statistical analysis about whatever you need. So the data we have inside BPM can show in a graphic way, and you can obtain custom KPIs. Then we talk about documents because every process involves many documents in our organization. In our BPM, we have tools that acquires and manage specific documents that are used by the organization, maybe compulsory documents inside of our processes or documents of external origin that are relevant for our processes. So you can also create a management documents from our BPM, and you can have models, you can manage models, so our user will create documents from model made from the organization. This means reducing costs of documents management.
Thank you for watching. We'll be happy to answer your questions.